And the president pointed out that John Lewis did not attend his inauguration. I think around 25% or so of the Democratic delegation did not attend his inauguration. John Lewis did not go to his State of the Union speeches. John Lewis voted for his impeachment. And John Lewis supported the removal of the president from office. John Lewis also gave an interview to Rolling Stone magazine last year in which he referred to President Trump as a racist. Now, so the man wanted Donald Trump impeached, thrown out of office, called him a racist, and other things probably we can't say in a family TV show. And you expected Donald Trump to show up at his funeral? What would have happened had he shown up? How would he have been treated? Now, yesterday we were talking about George Wallace and Malcolm X, and the fact that Malcolm X got a stamp from the postal office, even though he, at one time in his career, hated white people. There's a famous scene in the movie Malcolm X by Spike Lee where a female college student walks up to Malcolm X after he'd given a speech at a college. And she said, "Mr. X, not all white people are evil. Some of us want to help. How can we help? What can I do to help?" And he looked at her and said, "Nothing." If you read the autobiography of Malcolm X, in the final chapter, he talks about this encounter. And he says, "I regret that. I should have handled that a lot differently. I was blinded then with hatred," he said. And when you have hatred, you say a lot of stupid things. He renounced his anti-Semitism. He renounced his hatred of white people. And he became a humanist. That's why, in my opinion, he was assassinated by the members of the Nation of Islam. Similarly, George Wallace renounced his racism, which is why it's bizarre for Obama at John Lewis's funeral to compare Donald Trump to George Wallace when George Wallace renounced his racism.
He knew from his own life that progress is fragile, that we have to be vigilant against the darker currents of this country's history, of our own history, with their whirlpools of violence and hatred and despair that can always rise again. Bull Connor may be gone, but today we witness with our own eyes police officers kneeling on the necks of black Americans.
Kneeling on the necks of black Americans, plural. Unbelievable.
George Wallace may be gone, but we can witness our federal government sending agents to use tear gas and batons against peaceful demonstrators.
This is worthy of Al Sharpton. Knee on the necks, plural, of black Americans, plural. I saw an individual officer kneeling on an individual black man. I didn't see officers kneeling on necks of black Americans, as Obama just said. It's irresponsible. It's inflammatory. And it's a lie. And what's fascinating about this is that Obama compared Trump to two Democrats. Bull Connor was a segregationist Democrat. He's the one who said the black and the white got to be separate. And what's riveting about this is there's a 2005 picture, we talked about this yesterday, of a smiling Senator Barack Obama next to a smiling Minister Louis Farrakhan. And that picture did not see the light of day until 2018, after Obama was safely out of office. Why? Because the photographer who took the picture admitted that he knew it would do damage to Obama's ability to get elected, let alone reelected.
We do not have time for this kind of silliness.
Alan Dershowitz, longtime Democrat, who publicly supported Obama, said he would not have supported Obama, would not have voted for him had he known about this picture at the time. If you go to the Nation of Islam website, they list the things that they want. And one of the things that they are opposed to is interracial marriage. They don't believe in, quote, race mixing, close quote. Can you say David Duke And here's a smiling Senator Barack Obama next to a man who's referred to Jews as termites, referred to Judaism as a gutter religion, called Hitler a great man, and whose principles of his party oppose interracial marriage and race mixing.
This is what change looks like.
Is he oblivious to the fact that Obama's mother is white? I mean, honestly, an Obama who stood there next to the nation's most foremost anti-Semite is comparing Donald Trump to bigots, one of whom renounced his bigotry. I'm talking about George Wallace. George Wallace, after, by the way, Ted Kennedy had gone and flattered him at the July 4th festival, 1973, that's 10 years after George Wallace said segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. 10 years after that, there is Ted Kennedy in Alabama at some festival honoring George Wallace. George Wallace got the Audie Murphy Patriotism Award, and there is Ted Kennedy right there. Got hammered by the SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. That's the organization that was founded by MLK, who was its first president. They blasted Ted Kennedy for going there. And yet when Ted Kennedy died, did anybody mention this? Anybody bring it up? Negative. Now, when Trump mentioned that John Lewis did not attend his inauguration, did not go to his State of the Union speeches, he didn't mention that John Lewis called him a racist. And he could have brought up something very uncomfortable that nobody's brought up since the death of John Lewis, and that is that John Lewis claimed, as did Emanuel Cleaver and Clyburn, that they were called the N-word in 2010 when Tea Party demonstrators appeared outside the U.S. Capitol angry over proposed Obamacare. And these gentlemen claim that these protesters refer to them by the N-word. And Andrew Breitbart offered $100,000 to the United Negro College Fund for any evidence whatsoever that these gentlemen were referred to by the N-word. The money is still earning interest. John Lewis claimed that he was called the N-word. No evidence of that whatsoever, and Donald Trump was classy enough not to bring it up. George Wallace, by the way, when he ran his last time, got 90% of black support, had a black chief of staff, a black press secretary, apologized repeatedly, cried, said I was wrong, was forgiven. I'm Larry Elder.
Larry will be right back. Stay tuned.